Diamonds are forever, they are all you need to please me. Or just subscribe to my channel, or just watch my reviews, or my what is who it wins, any of them. Yes, I will be introing every one of my reviews with a variant of the song. But Diamonds Are Forever. Diamonds Are Forever was basically Sean Connery's final official um, Bond movie in his tenure as James Bond, coming out 4 years after his last outing as 007 from You Only Live Twice. It was clear at this point that Connery was starting to get a little long in the tooth. He was starting to age out a little bit of the role. I mean, it wasn't as bad as like when he was in Never Say Never Again, but it was clear. Connery was born in 19. Let me see here. 19. What was it? 19. Because I've got the IMDb here. Was born 1930. So he at this point was now. Actually, he wasn't that old. He was only 41. But it was clear that the age was starting to take its toll. Even though Roger Moore was even older when he started playing 007. Still, it was clear that Connery wouldn't have many left in him if he continued to play past this, and obviously he didn't. Oop, and I got to get more centered in the shot there. But still, regardless of what you think of Bond in terms of his age or Sean Connery in terms of his age, what about the movie? What about James Bond? Is this still one of the best James Bond movies? Is it one of the worst ones? Well, among the Connery era Bonds, and I do not include the Never Say Never Again technically in the Connery era Bonds. When we talk about the Connery era Bonds, we talk about that original six that are in continuity, technically. And yeah, I'll go so far as to say this one probably is the worst one. But even the worst one of the Sean Connery Bonds, again, save Never Say Never Again, is still a solid outing. It's still an entertaining ride. It takes us in a slightly different direction than we normally go with Bond. Him being in Vegas is a very, unique thing. We don't see Bond in like a real. We don't see Bond in a party town like Vegas is, because that's what Vegas kind of is. It's a party town. Let's be honest. We don't see him in those scenarios very often. He's been to the States many a times even beforehand. He went to the Bahamas, which technically is that territory is within the United States. He went to Kentucky, I believe, in Goldfinger, if I'm not mistaken. So it's not like this isn't the first time he's been to the States, but let's be fair. This is one where like the majority of the film takes place in the States. It does take place also briefly, I think I can't remember if it's Italy. I can't remember where it initially begins, but like the first part of the story begins. But yeah, most of it is in the States. And in this one, again, we're still dealing with Spectre. We're still dealing with Blowfield. Again, Blowfield, this time played by Charles Gray. And we open up with the whole concept that, him and Blowfield have been, these two are the other's arch rivals. They're arch enemies. And when he initially believes he kills Blofeld in the beginning of the movie, I have to admit it does feel anticlimactic. Like, we know that's not the end of Blofeld. Come on, especially if you had seen like the trailers and stuff. There's other ways to. There'd be ways he'd come back from that. But still, I mean, it is a fun little action piece. Nothing amazing. That's one thing I'll definitely have to say for this, is that the action set pieces in this one, yeah, they're not the greatest. They're not terrible. The whole running over the moon landing set, I'll admit that is kind of funny. That was a funny little set piece. But other than that, though, like nothing. See, like every other Bond movie, even some of the worst ones, there is usually an action set piece that stands out to me. What in Doctor No, to me, the big one that stands out honestly is the fight in the car fight, um, where he beats the guy up, and also like the end with him rescuing Honey Rider and all that. And Russia with Love, the set piece is the boat. And Goldfinger, Chase is one of the big set pieces there. And his fight with Oddjob stands out to me. Thunderball. Does anything actually stand out to me in Thunderball? Oh, yeah, the sequence to the sharks. That stands out to me in Thunderball. Live and Not Die, that aerial shot over the building. What do we got here? The Bambi and Thumper fight. I'll say this. I'll say that. The Bambi and Thumper fight is a lot of fun. But that's the only thing that stands out to me for this. This is also when you could tell Connery was... They were able to get Connery back because they just paid him a lot of money. That's the only reason he came back. It's like he saw the check. It was fat. And he's like, all right, fuck it. I'll do it one more. But never again. We'll never say never again, Miss Crawley. Never again. It's like, ching, shut up, a bitch. All right, put me on. All right, I'm not doing the accent anymore. I'm doing my original accent. It's like, all right, whatever, Mr. Connery. Look, you're coming back to play Bond one more time. You can do whatever you want. And that's because you can tell just by watching him in this movie that even though he can still deliver some one-liners and look like he's having a good time, a lot of the movie he just seems kind of bored, even with his line delivery. And I don't know if that's really his fault. The writing, because I'll admit some of the writing in this really isn't that great. Like Mr. Weird Kid and Mr. Wink. I mean, I get what they're kind of going for, and if you watch Kids Next Door, you know there's some characters they based those guys off of, or no, that were based off those guys. But they're interesting, but technically Blofeld is the main bad guy, but technically they are. Technically they're the henchmen, I guess, and they're memorable. I can't deny they're not memorable, but they are an odd pair. Like it's all but said that they're actually a couple. They're actually a gay couple that happen to be killers as well. But it's never actually like legitimately said. But I do believe it's that is what they're supposed to be, and hence the lines like she's very attractive for a lady, and then he just laughs because he knows he's screwing with his partner. But I don't know. Something about them never really stuck right with me. I think it's the fact that they're just kind of meandering throughout the movie, I think. They're never... Because they always seem to be failing to kill Bond, and they don't really have a true confrontation with Bond until the end of the film. Whereas most Bond henchmen or villains usually have a confrontation prior to this. Oddjob and him have a bit of a confrontation once or twice. Obviously, Robert Shaw and him, like, they don't have a confrontation. They got their one confrontation, but they have a build-up to that confrontation where they're interacting off each other. Jaws and the Roger Moore movies. Clearly, he has several run-ins with Jaws. These guys, Connery never actually has a legitimate confrontation with them, be it verbal, physical, whatever, until the very end of the movie. So I think that's where my biggest problem lies. Other than that, they are well portrayed and they are creepy. And I've spoken a lot. I've spoken You Only Live Twice about Charles Gray as Blofeld. He's not the worst choice. Telly Savalas, honestly, what I think is the worst Blofeld, and that's just because, and that's not even including the Live and Let Die Blofeld we barely see at the beginning of the film, because otherwise that's the worst Blofeld. Let's be honest. But no, and that's just because Blofeld should have at least some sort of accent where you either don't know where he's from or he's not straight out American. So yeah, I do think Charles Gray isn't a terrible choice, but coming off of Donald Pleasance, yeah, I'm like, all right, I guess you couldn't get Donald back. And to be fair, this one does seem wackier. what was it? Tiffany Case? Not Tiffany. Yeah, Jill St. John's Tiffany Case. Um, she's she's definitely one of the more interesting Bond girls. She's also one of the sassier ones too. Like she has some bite to the kid. This character has some bite to her. Like she's not just going to be pushed around. She's a more modern woman, handles herself in a more modern way. Um, and she seems kind of in control until it's eventually revealed she's not in control. By the way, if it looks like I'm blending in the couch, because the couch is a dark brown in this lighting and it's almost black, and my shirt is pure black. So if I look like just a floating head, it's the talking floating head talking about Bond. 1 second. Oh, I apologize. Reflux has been acting up a little bit. Not as bad as like when it's at its peak bad, but still acting up a little bit. Anyway, so with everything I'm saying, kind of dissing the film, is it that bad? No, it's not that bad. Like I said, Tiffany Case is actually a pretty solid Bond girl. Plenty O'Toole gets a good joke in. There's that great joke where they throw her out the window. She lands in the pool. It's like, excellent shot. It's like, I didn't know there was a pool down there. It's like, yeah, it's like, yeah, that's a funny joke. Connery, even when Connery's phoning it in a role, Connery's still entertaining. Like, a lot of people don't like A League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, but you can't say Connery's not at least trying in that movie. Like Medicine Man, I like Medicine Man a lot. Rising Sun. What's the one where he's the thief? And it's, I think, Catherine Zeta-Jones. The Rock. Connery usually, even Czar does. Connery usually tries to bring it if he can. Definitely. So, and even when he's not bringing it, he's still entertaining because he's just got the charisma. So, I mean, Connery's trying. Just because the action pieces aren't necessarily the best doesn't mean there aren't some other pieces that aren't or other scenes that don't work. Him playing off Jill St. John is actually pretty good. Blowfield, well, not my personal favorite interpretation of Blowfield. It's still entertaining. See where he's actually just randomly talking with Blowfield is very is very amusing. Where you get the doubles of him. Say, yeah, we deeply sympathize, Mr. Bond. He kills one of them. Right idea. Wrong pussy, Mr. Bond. Wrong pussy, Mr. Bond. It's like, you keep wondering, it's like, how much were you able to get away with back then? It's like, it means cat, let's be honest. It may mean cat, but we don't think of it as cat. So, yeah, I don't know. I think this one actually suffers from going into the next decade and not really embracing that. Like, it still feels like it's trying to be the 60s while it's in the 70s. I think that is the kind of strongest problem with the film, is that it feels like a film that should have been part of another decade instead of the decade it's in. So, yeah, ultimately, I like this film. I do. I would probably, we got 25 going on 26 with the next one. Would I put it in the bottom 13? Given how many Bond films I know I like more than this, there is a good chance this could be in the bottom 13 of my top Bond movies. But not like, it wouldn't be like in the last, it wouldn't be like my 5 worst probably. It's just not one of my preferred favorites. I don't go out of my way to watch this one. I mean, if it's on, sure, I'll put it on. I'll put just about any Bond film on. But the point is that it's solid, but I think it is one of the weaker ones. Connery really doesn't have too many bad Bond movies, or even weak Bond movies, per se. At worst, I'd say it's this one. It's still a solid movie. Live and Let You Only Live Twice, which is still a solid movie, and Never Say Never Again, which we'll talk about Never Say Never Again when we get to Never Say Never Again. It's kind of like with Magic Secret Service. I don't want to bury the lead when I talk about that movie. But anyway, that's my thoughts on this one. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Hit that bell if you want notifications. Want us to review something, put in the comments below. Let us know. We'll do a review of it at some point. So I got 2 more to do, and I'll be caught up, and then I'll just be putting out 1 review a day. So I'll be completely caught up. Luckily, these aren't long videos, so I can just cram these out in a heartbeat. So until then, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in a little bit.